Well, the Trump administration wants to re-up the Trump tax cuts of 2017, which are set to expire this year.
But in order to do that and still achieve the president's budget goals, Congress would have to cut Medicaid in every state. That has officials scrambling to figure out how they could possibly fill an annual $1.5 billion hole in the state budget while continuing to supply vital health service to residents. Here is Esme Murphy with this week's edition of Talking Points.
In Minnesota, 1.3 million people rely on Medicaid for their health care. 40% of Minnesota kids depend on Medicaid. And when it comes to nursing homes, 55% of nursing home residents rely almost entirely on Medicaid. The proposed cut to Medicaid in Minnesota is $1.5 billion a year. The cut would be drastic. The decisions state officials would have to make are being described as, quote, impossible. John Connolly is the state director of Medicaid.
It would likely force us to consider some really impossible choices with respect to eligibility, or in other words, who's eligible and can enroll in the program, who qualifies to enroll, the types of benefits and services that we cover. So would we have to reconsider certain things that we pay for within the Medicaid program?
And that leaves state officials trying to communicate to the public so they understand the gravity of what is at stake.
Who's covered by Medicaid currently? Children, older adults, people with disabilities in our state, in addition to the providers that rely on this program and the different areas of the state that rely on this program. It plays a huge role in rural Minnesota.
The fear is bipartisan. Last month, 14 Republican state legislators wrote President Trump and Minnesota's 4 Republican members of Congress that Medicaid cuts would mean Minnesota would have to raise local property taxes drastically or close services.
And Esme Murphy joins us now. So with all of these warnings about cuts, what about Medicaid fraud? I mean, can't officials crack down on fraud while trying to save taxpayers' money?
You know, I think they will. Everyone is talking about fraud and trying to do something about it. It's a multi-million-dollar problem. But the state Medicaid director, John Connolly, says the level of fraud does not begin to equal the dollar amount these cuts are referring to.
Interesting. And how much have the 14 Minnesota Republicans who have advocated against those Medicaid cuts, how much have they done besides that letter to the president?
Really nothing. They have been very hard to pin down. They've avoided Caroline Cummings at the Capitol. They don't want to talk about it. But it's a big deal, this letter. We have the letter up on our website. It says bluntly, and again, this is from the GOP legislators, there's no way to accommodate some of the proposed massive reductions and still provide the kind of care these vulnerable people need. And again, these are from Republicans like Jim Abler, senator from Anoka, to the president and to Minnesota's 4 Republican members of Congress.
So let's say the cuts did happen and they were that big. How would Minnesota pay for them?
Well, I asked the state director of Medicaid, John Connolly, that question, and I got the kind of answer you don't usually get from public officials. His answer was, I don't know. He said, as you heard in that tape piece, that Minnesota would be left with, quote, some impossible choices. The Republican legislators in this letter say the only choice would be to raise property taxes, quote, drastically and close services.
Interesting. And then how about all these layoffs? We've been talking about them earlier in the show, but will that be enough money, save that the Medicaid cuts would not be needed or wouldn't be so dramatic?
You know, this is very important. Obviously, all these cuts are important. They are making huge holes in the federal budgets. But here's why it won't equate to those cuts. The president wants to keep the 2017 tax cuts that we have now in place, and the president wants to cut federal spending. But the biggest part of federal spending by far are on 3 entitlement programs, Medicaid, Medicare for seniors, and Social Security. Those 3 entitlement programs account for almost 50% of federal spending, and the amount is growing.
All right, Esme, thank you so much. And you can see more of Esme's conversation right now or anytime. Just head to our YouTube channel and search for Talking Points.